Hello, my name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Center for Computer and Information Technology at Murray State University, and welcome to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partners Sprocket Innovation in Paducah and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. If you all have been viewers of 10 at 10 over the past, you know that we have been working through a series of some of those steps that you should take as a small business to get started with cybersecurity. But I'm going to take a break today because I had a question from someone this week that I thought it would be a good idea to take a break, stop, and try to address it. And the question was, all of these things that we share on 10 at 10 are perhaps relevant, perhaps helpful, but what do you do, if the viewer that shared it with me has a small business that is a very small business right now, just getting started, less than 5 employees. How should they think about cybersecurity? What should they be doing? There's not a lot of money to spend. There's not even a lot of time and energy to spend. So what should they do? So I thought about that this week. I looked at a few resources, even posed it to a couple of colleagues about what is it that we should think about for a really small, say 1 to 5 person business. And my goal was to bring it down to 3 to 5 things. This is what you should do. This is what you should think about. And the honest answer is that it was hard. So I came up with 6, and I actually have 5 or 6 additional things to think about. But let me see what I can get through today, and we'll talk about that. So what should you think about? What are some of the steps to consider for a really small business? And I wanted to bring up some things that are free and easy. It's just a matter of you doing it. Improve password security. We have talked about security, password security on here countless times because password security is a major problem. Password security, reusing passwords, having easy to guess passwords, not using multi-factor authentication are all things that leave your business, your organization vulnerable, your individual accounts vulnerable. So whether you're an individual, whether you're a small business, whether you're a really large business, password security is one of the first things that I always talk about that you should think about as a step to make your organization safer. The second item that I listed on here is update and patch all systems. Many of the attacks, many of the avenues that users, vulnerabilities that hackers use to get into your system are updates and patches that are already known. And what I mean by that, it's not a 0-day vulnerability, meaning that nobody knows about it. Usually they're patches that even Microsoft or your operating system or your applications already know about and already have updates for them. So if you have the option of updating your system, update your system, update your Windows, update your applications, update your phone, your everything that has that built-in patch available, you should do it. There's some exceptions to that. If it's a mission critical system, sometimes there's been a couple of SQL updates, SQL Server updates that have been problematic. But by and large, updates, particularly on your desktop, particularly on your applications, you should be updating them on a regular basis. Microsoft has Patch Tuesday. When it comes out, you update. Number 3, you should strongly think about providing employee training on social engineering, user awareness training, employee training. The soft skills, the social engineering aspect is a very vulnerable piece, especially for a small business. And the reason I say that is that there's not a separation of duties ability in a small business. So if you're a 1 or 2 person operation, then you're the accountant, you're the sales guy, you're the IT guy, you're the president, you're the C-level executives, along with the low-level grunts. You're everything in between. So when somebody tries to call and tell you that you need to do X, Y, and Z, Well, that's probably part of your responsibility. So it may be believable. If you receive an email on something, it may be believable. So making sure that the number of people in your organization are fully aware and versed on social engineering threats, that will help out. Don't click on the links. Don't trust somebody on a phone call. No matter what, you don't trust. You just can't trust people. That's number 3. Number 4 is utilizing cloud services. So now those first 3 items you can do without a cost, a financial cost. It only is going to cost time to you. Number 4 is going to cost you money, but it's going to save you money in the long run. First of all, you must have backups. If you don't have backups, you're leaving your company very vulnerable. And if you get hit with ransomware, it's not just going to impact your business. It's probably going to shut your business down, period. So you've got to have some backups. I don't recommend you doing that yourself. If you're a 1, 2, 3, 5 person organization, don't try to do that yourself. Use cloud services to do this, because maybe you don't have the expertise, but you definitely don't have the time. So whether it's backup services, whether it's accounting services, whether it's customer relationship, it's file storage, it's HR, time management functions, whatever it might be, if there's a cloud service out there, you're probably going to be better off in the long run to utilize that rather than trying to bring a server in-house and manage a server that, frankly, you don't have time to manage and probably don't have the ability to secure it adequately, especially you're probably not going to be able to secure it as well as somebody would be able to secure it in a cloud services format. For example, if you're trying to manage customers, Salesforce, which might not be the best alternative for your business, but Salesforce can secure that much better than what you can do in-house and keep that information safe. So just something to think about. End user security, make sure you have antivirus software. Make sure that you're utilizing Windows Defender if you're on a Windows computer. Make sure you're using something on your endpoint device to keep it safe as well. Even if you're a remote user, you should be using antivirus. Even if you're a remote user, you should be actually checking off all 5 of those things that we've talked about. Make sure that you're doing those things. There's some very low cost, even free alternatives for antivirus and endpoint security. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure that's something that you're considering and adding to your arsenal. And then I added number 6. Don't forget about physical security. Even if you're running a business out of your home or out of your garage, don't forget about physical security. Yes, the biggest threat to your organization, to your business, is going to be online. It's going to be password security. It's going to be a vulnerability in something that you didn't patch. It's going to be a social engineering attack. It's going to be all these things. That's most likely. But there is a physical security aspect. If you have merchandise in your building, then physical security is going to be important. If you have computers in your facility, whether it's your home, your garage, your a building that you're renting, physical security is going to be important. Make sure that you have that set up. If you have extremely confidential information in your business, and let's say you are a home business, and you have extremely confidential information, and you leave it laying around on your desk, or you leave your passwords laying around on your desk, there's still people that are going to be in your house. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your kids' friends, maybe it's somebody that cleans your house. I don't know what it might be, but there still is a physical security aspect, even if you are a home user, even if you're a small business user. Don't forget about those things. We're out of time today already, but I have additional things for you to consider. Consider using managed service providers. If you have an ISP, they probably have some services that you could utilize. Make sure you're using a firewall. If you're using third-party vendors, make sure you validate their security as well. Don't forget about your mobile devices. If you have a cell phone with a mobile smartphone with sensitive data on it, make sure you're securing it. Make sure that you're using best practices on payment cards, accepting payment from cards. I could go over additional things. It's really hard to say, here's the few things that you should do, but I would recommend starting with these 6 things. The 5 things on the next screen or on the previous screen are things to think about as well. But let me turn the question back around to you. For those that are watching, what do you think? Add to the comments, send me a note. What do you think if you were asked the question for a 1 to 5 person business? What are the most important steps for them to think about to secure their business and their organization? What would you suggest? What would you add to the list that's here? What would you add to the other list? It's really hard if I limit you to 3 to 5 things because, I did 6, but it's really hard to just narrow it down. But I'll be interested to hear your feedback on this as well. So please let me know. You can comment on the Facebook video. It'll be posted on YouTube. And I'll share it on LinkedIn as well. So you can comment anywhere you want, and I'll try to collect those. And if I get enough responses, different responses especially, I'll try to share these back out on maybe an upcoming episode of 10 at 10. But I hope this helped to the viewer that asked the question. I hope this helps some things that for you to think about that you should do first. But the key is that once you do this, you're never done. You got to continue. You got to keep doing it. But hopefully this helps answer your question. If you have other questions, anybody else has questions that you would like for us to talk about on 10 at 10, please share those with us as well. And I will certainly try to get to those in an upcoming episode of 10 at 10. I appreciate you watching today. I hope this was helpful and look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.